Welcome. This is the Hands to Heart Center in Boston Public Library's Friday afternoon live stream, the Gentle Unwind yoga class, and we'll get started in a few moments. In the meantime, just make yourself comfortable. If you'd like to have some water or anything in your space that would increase your comfort, feel free to set that up now and we'll get going shortly. Welcome again to those of you joining on. My name is Jessi. I'm a volunteer with Hands to Heart Center, and this is the Friday afternoon Gentle Unwind Yoga live stream in partnership with Boston Public Library. So as I share a few words about Hands to Heart Center and give you an overview of how our practice will look today, please feel free to do whatever you need that will set you up for a really beautiful hour. That could be adjusting your clothing in some way, getting a glass of water, tidying your space, really anything that will support you. There are no specific props or recommendations for today's class. So again, my name is Jessi, and I'm here on behalf of Hands to Heart Center, which is a Boston nonprofit organization, a yoga service organization that focuses on bringing yoga and mindfulness to communities throughout Greater Boston so that the healing benefits can be enjoyed throughout our city. The Hands to Heart Center has a specific focus on delivering services to those experiencing homelessness, trauma, or poverty. And Hands to Heart Center is glad to partner with Boston Public Library for this ongoing series. So today's session is all about slowing down, unwinding from the week, down-regulating the nervous system and the body. And so we'll spend a lot of the class on the ground, on our backs, on the mat. So we start and lying down. If you want to get right to it, please feel free. And everything is designed to move the energy downwards in our system. So often by this time of day, this time of the week, we have had a lot of energy move upwards into our heads. There's a lot of demands of our daily lives, our to-do list, whatever intellectual pursuits or jobs that we're involved with are often very thought-centric. Our breath tends to get shallower and shallower and move up in the body. And so what we'll be doing today is drawing our energy and our attention downward through grounding practices that focus on moving the breath down through the body, that focus on working into the legs and feet, so that we can balance and steady ourselves. So everything today is an offering, a complete invitation, and you at all times have the agency to make this practice whatever you would like it to be. So feel free to adjust and modify with the guidance that I'm giving. I give breath cues to align body and brain, and I also give physical cues for alignment and safety. And so as we get started, you're invited to come down onto your backs. And if for any reason lying supine doesn't feel appealing to you, you may also start by sitting upright or standing. So as long as your weight is evenly distributed and your spine is elongated, to the extent that it's possible for you, you can follow these directions exactly. I will be instructing and modeling from a supine position. We'll begin with easing ourselves down on the mat, as well as with some intentional breath. So take your time, coming into a lying down position on your back. You might rest the soles of the feet on the floor with the knees pointed upwards. You might also extend the legs out in front of you so that the limbs are straight.
Choose what is most comfortable for your unique body in this specific moment. And at any point, at any time during the practice, please feel free to make any adjustments that will make you more comfortable, more at ease. Hands can be resting down by the sides or on the belly or any other place in the body that brings you comfort. Eyes can be open or closed. Take a moment just to settle here. Let the body reorient to this new shape, this new way of experiencing gravity. You'll notice that a large part of yourself is connected to the back, to the floor, to the back of your head, space between the shoulder blades, perhaps an area around the back of the hips, sacrum, pelvis, or glutes. And then as you travel downwards, the backs of your legs, calves, heels, all in connection with the floor. The body is invited to soften, to drop down, sink in to the support of the surface beneath you. Take a deep breath in through the nose, side out through the mouth. And just notice. So from here, you can go ahead and take the palms face down, place them on the belly near the navel. Elbows can rest and drop down to the sides. Again, legs can be extended out in front of you or soles of the feet on the ground, with the knees pointed upward. And if you've chosen to sit or stand, hands can come to the belly as well. Spine is elongated, weight evenly distributed. So start by breathing in through the nostrils and aim the air down towards the belly. So filling the belly with air on the inhale. And then exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, air draws into the nose, belly lifts. Fill the balloons with air on the inhale. Exhale to release. Again, drawing the air through the nostrils, rushes through the throat, enters the belly, fills and expands into that belly that domes with air. When the inhale is complete, release. Air re-enters the atmosphere. It takes several cycles of this deep belly breathing, in and out through the nose. As the air comes in, you'll notice the belly presses upwards into the palms. And as you release on the exhale, the belly deflates and descends, and the palms rest as well, descending downward. Smooth, steady, slow. Breath moves at your pace. Air draws in and fills the belly on the inhale. Belly rises, and when you feel complete and full of air, you begin your exhale. Releasing the belly, hands descend. Air exits the body. Deep and complete breaths. As you inhale, you can trace the air coming in through the nostrils. Imagining its path through the body to enter the belly. Belly rises and expands to welcome the air. And on the exhale, the path is reversed as the air traverses out through the nostrils and back into space. Take a few more cycles of breath deep into the belly. Complete inhales and satisfying exhales. Slowly and smoothly breathing. After your next exhale, you might take the hands and slide them up the body a few inches till you come in contact with your ribs. So palms remain face down, elbows splayed out to the sides, resting on the ground. And now you might be in contact with some of the bony structures around your ribs and side body. And we'll continue breathing in and out through the nose. And this time, directing the air into the region of the ribs. So on the inhale, you're breathing in through the nose. Air fills the ribs, rib cage flares open, expands. Exhale through the nose, the rib cage deflates. So your breath and your attention target the rib area. Inhale to fill, to flare, to expand. Exhale to soften, to release, to let go. You'll notice the palms and hands still go for the ride along the rib cage as the breath undulates in and out of the body. Breath is a massage from the internal terrain. Steady and see where you can smooth out the breath. Breathe in to nourish. Breathe out to release. As the air is directed into the ribs, the rib cage lifts and expands from side to side. You may even notice it pressing from the back into the mat. 360 degrees of full rib breathing. Attention is on the breath and on the ribs. Body is relaxed and the hands are just going for a gentle ride. After your next exhale, and absolutely no rush to get there, take the hands and move them to the upper part of the chest. So upper chest towards the shoulders and the collarbone. You may be touching parts of your collarbone. Elbows again, if possible, are just resting out to the sides. And here, as we continue to breathe in and out through the nostrils, we're directing the air to the upper chest. Breathe in through the nose. The chest rises, fills, and expands. And exhale through the nose, the chest deflates. The hands in the upper chest lift on the inhale. Air fills the body. And exhale to release. Continue with these cycles of breath at your own pace. Air comes in and out of the nostrils, breathing in to fill, to nourish, to lift. Breathing out to soften and release. Your focus is on bringing the air into the chest and noticing the path of the air along with the rise and fall. Take your time, and when you've reached the next exhale, some options for the hands. They can stay where they are. They can move back to the ribs or to the belly, or you can let them rest out to the sides. In any other hand position that's calling to you, as long as it's symmetrical for the most part, should be fine. It would unlikely interfere with what we're up to. So now we'll engage the 3-part breath, which is the yoga complete breath, which will weave together all the pieces that we've just done. So you'll be inhaling through your belly. As the belly fills, the air will come into the ribs. As the ribs reach their capacity with air, the air moves into the chest, and then we release completely on the exhale. So through the nostrils, draw the air in, it fills the belly. Belly balloons with air. As the belly fills, the ribs flare open. Air is still coming in. And finally, draw the air into the upper chest. When your breath is complete, exhale, exhale, exhale. Draw the air in, fill the belly. Air rushes into the ribs and lifts the chest. When you're complete, exhale and release. So we're threading together each part of the breath that we isolated in one smooth, steady movement. So inhale to the belly, inhale to the ribs, inhale to the chest, and then release the entire column of air. Let the capacity of your lungs, the amount of air that you're interested in taking in, determine how long this breath takes. You fill till you've reached your capacity that feels right for you. Then the exhale releases all the air back out. The body softens and deflates. Belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale the entire column of air. Take 2 more of these complete yoga 3-part breaths. And you might be interested to see if you can take these last 2 breaths even a bit slower. Can they be the slowest breaths that you've taken so far? And after your next exhale, we'll pause for a moment, just resting in stillness. And notice, what is the effect of this intentional breathing? This deep, slow, and steady breath, has it had an impact on the body? Has it left a residue or an imprint? Notice what feels alive for you. And as you rest, welcome yourself to your practice. Welcome yourself to this experience of yoga. Welcome your body, the thoughts in your mind. Your energy level is welcome. Any emotions, positive, negative, neutral, they are welcome. Your whole self is completely welcome to this practice. Pieces of your identity that are seen, that are unseen. Wherever you are coming from today, you are welcome. You belong. If the hands have been on the body, go ahead and release them off to the sides. If you've been sitting or standing and would like to come to lying down, please feel free to do so. If your legs are straight, bend them and place the soles of the feet on the ground. And palms are face down, fingertips pointed down towards your toes. So the arms are alongside the body. The soles of the feet are on the ground, the knees pointed up. Feet are parallel to each other, back body is on the ground. And gaze is upwards towards the ceiling or eyes closed. So you want to avoid looking from side to side with your head. So whether eyes are open and closed, make sure that the spine is straight and elongated and the gaze is upward. And we'll start with a few simple movements coordinating the breath in the body. So on an inhale through your nose, start to lift the fingertips. Palms might face into each other as the arms and hands come up. Eventually, fingertips will reach up towards the ceiling and then behind you. So if your shoulders allow, your upper arms will come near your ears, and perhaps your arms and fingertips will even touch down on the ground. And we'll measure this with our inhale. And the exhale will be the return journey. So the arms coming back overhead, reaching upwards, and then fingertips aiming down towards the toes as the arms descend back to the ground. So we're drawing arches, the shape of a rainbow with our arms. Breathe in as you reach up and overhead. And breathe out as you reverse and bring the arms back to the ground. You'll find your own rhythm here, a rhythm that aligns the inhale with the time it takes for your arms to reach up and overhead, and an exhale that matches the return of the hands and arms to the ground. So your pace will be completely unique. You might feel you need to speed up the arms or slow down the arms or change the speed of the breath. Where your focus is seeing if you can get the alignment between the breath and the body to create some coordination, some steadiness, some smoothness. And as you're moving through these arch-like motions coordinated with breath, you might tuck the tailbone slightly and hug the navel towards the spine. And this will engage your center point in your body and create some stability in the low back, which can be helpful. You might also very gently press the feet into the ground a little bit to create even more stability, as well as drawing some of the body's attention lower into our lower body. And so there's a few options coming up. You may stick with this arm movement and just continue this. Plenty to focus on with aligning the breath and the movement and checking in on the smoothness. You may decide that you want to keep the arms going and add on our next movement, which is going to be lower body focused. Or you can abandon the arms altogether and focus on the lower body. I'll try and model and talk through the combination of everything together. So our arms are going to keep going, inhaling to lift and reach back, eventually touching the floor if that's working for your shoulders, and exhaling to return. And on the inhale, we're also going to add a movement where we press into our feet and lift the hips any amount. This can be an inch off the floor, this can be 6 inches off the floor. It does not need to be high. You'll notice that it's a bridge shape, so it does not need to be a full bridge. And on the exhale, still pressing to the feet, the hips lower. So we have an inhale to lift up the hips, and an exhale to lower. And you might be coordinating this with the arm motion. So that means you have the breath, the upper body, and the lower body all negotiating together to find a steady and balanced way of moving. Where the time it takes to lift the hips, send the arms back, and inhale are all aligned. And see what adjustments you need to make to have that become possible. And remember that it's all a learning laboratory, all an experiment. And the more curiosity and interest you can have in that process, in that experimentation, the more settling and more awareness is being cultivated. Take a few more rounds at your own pace. And if you've been doing one of the movements and you want to switch back to the other, so move from lower body to upper body, or you've been doing single movements, you want to try combining them, definitely feel free to add and adjust in these last cycles. And the next time that you're exhaling, you can let this be your last round. No rush to get there. Arms will return to the ground. Breath will just move steadily on its own. Trust your body to breathe without any purpose needed from you in this moment. And again, we'll just pause. Notice the effects of moving mindfully in this way. Take a deep breath into the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. With your arms down by your sides, keep the knees bent and start to come up onto the toes of your feet. And then gently lift the legs up so that the knees are bent, toes are off the ground. And you can start to draw the knees in towards the chest. You might even take the hands and hug them in by wrapping the arms or hands around your legs. Touching just below the knee and the upper shin can be a great place to grab on. And any movements that call to your little rocking side to side can be nice, or gentle circles. This creates a little bit of massage and circulation in the low back, glutes, sacrum, an area that will start to target and warm up a little bit. In our sitting culture, spending this much time on our backs can feel like a big relief. And so we'll spend a little bit more time here loosening and opening this midsection of the body. Any movements that feel nice here. Rocking, circling, or something else. So you'll need a little bit of space on this side of you. So I'm moving my blocks just out of the way. There's nothing that you need, but just so you have space. You'll keep your knees hugged in or bent. And arms can come up to the side in a T position, palms face down. I'm going to take an inhale from here. And as we exhale, we're gently going to tilt the legs over to the right side. If the knees can stay together, that can be helpful. but only go about 5-6 inches, no more than halfway to the ground. And then exhale to come back to center. Take an in breath, and you'll exhale as you gently tilt to the left. Again, the knees and legs come no more than halfway to the ground. So some gentle micro movements here. Inhale up through center. And exhale as you move to the right. Go nice and slow. Inhaling on the returns to center. And exhaling on the journey to the sides. You might press down a little bit through the elbows or palms just to create some stability. And I find that the closer I hug my knees in, the more stability I have in my low back. So smooth and steady movements, smooth and steady breath. And this gentle undulation is bringing some heat into the center. It is giving some massage to that low back and upper glutes area. And so the slower you can go, the more each of these regions can get a little bit more attention, bringing the breath, the circulation, and our focus to these areas. And if you feel you're ready to start dropping the knees and legs a little bit lower to the earth, you can definitely add that in. Yet, don't go all the way down yet. We're still not putting the legs onto the ground. Slowly building our way there as we draw our attention down to the lower body. Move nice and slow. The slower you go, the more you can notice. And the next time your legs are headed towards the right, if you'd like to let them drop all the way down to the ground, go ahead. You can also certainly keep going back and forth if this is feeling nice on your spine. So as the legs come to the earth, if you're choosing to do that, you could take the left hand, place it somewhere on the right leg, usually in the mid-thigh area, just to add some support. You're thinking of the right shoulder coming down, and we're going to keep the head straight for now. So continuing to look upwards, or if the eyes are closed, imagine the gaze is upwards. We're not turning the head to the right side for now to keep this very gentle. And take 3 breaths here. As you breathe in, invitation to pay special attention to the right side of the body. How does the air feel coming in and out of the right side? How does that feel different than the left side? And after your 3rd breath, you can release the left hand back to T position if it was on your leg. You'll tuck the tailbone slightly, hug the navel back, and use that core central part of your body to begin the lift of the legs back to the center. Go ahead and take an inhale to support yourself. Exhale, stay in the center. Inhale. And exhale as the legs start to send themselves to the right. Slowly and gently descend all the way to the ground if you'd like to take the full twist. Remember, head is straining, the eyes are gazing up towards the ceiling. Right hand can come somewhere on the left leg to support the twist. Left shoulder is aiming towards a settled spot on the ground. And 3 breaths, feeling into the left side. And choose the modulation of your breaths. Does it feel good to take deep, slow breaths that really expand into this twist? Or shallower breaths feeling more supportive? completely up to you. After the third breath, the right arm can go back out to T position. Tuck the tailbone, hug the navel back, and activate the legs, moving back through center. Breathe in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth, and release the legs back to the ground. They can extend outward or remain with soles on the ground and knees pointed up, and your arms can come, arms and hands, to anywhere on or off the body that feels good to you. And again, we'll take a moment to pause and observe. What do you notice in the body? Any changes or effects with moving slowly, coordinating breath and body, or moving primarily the areas in the lower body? Anything you notice is welcome. And gently and very mindfully, we're going to roll over onto our bellies. So you might take your hands and stack them, and in this way you can put your forehead down directly and rest on the pillow that your hands create. I'll keep my head up because I think it helps a little bit for volume. So as you're resting here, you'll feel the opposite side of your body in touch with the mat and with the ground. You feel the fronts of your feet, the shoelaces side of your feet, the quadriceps, the low belly, hips, rib area, chest, and forehead, all resting on the earth. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out. Notice this new spatial orientation. And we'll gently take our hands and move them out from under our forehead. So the forehead may be able to come down to the earth in front of you, and just pause there for a moment as you take the hands and move the palms underneath the fronts of your shoulders. And so here, the elbows will squeeze back. The whole lower body is pressing into the mat. Chin is tucked. Long spine. Gaze is down or eyes closed. Take an inhale. And see if you can grow longer from the crown of your head. So you're coming forward. And when you can no longer go forward, you start to lift gently the head, neck, and shoulders. Gaze remains between the hands. Press through the feet, pelvis, belly. Squeeze the elbows together. Breathe. And your next exhale, lower down. So we'll pulse in and out of cobra on the in breath, lifting gently, elongating the spine. And on the exhale, returning down to the earth. Chin stays tucked, gaze stays between the hands. Elbows squeeze in, inhale, reach through the crown of the head, reach through the toes in opposite directions to lift and lengthen. Exhale to lower. The palms are connected with the mat, but they're not holding too much weight. It's the lower body that is really grounding us here. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, moving at your own speed. Shoulder blades draw towards each other, elbows draw towards each other. Lots of space between the shoulders and the ears so that your neck is elongated. You might like to continue in this fashion. If you'd like to take some larger body movements, the next time you inhale, you'll press into your hands,
lift your hips, hug the navel back as you send your hips into a child's pose or something like a child's pose. So fingertips reach forward, head hangs down, and your hips are sitting back towards your heels. So you can take an inhale to come forward any amount. It might be a little bit. You might come to tabletop. You might drop the hips and lift the chest. Squeeze those elbows together. You can gaze up and exhale to come back. Any amount of movement here. You'll aim for a forward movement and a back movement. So they can be small or large. And you can definitely stay with the pulsing and lowering cobra if you like. So you might coordinate this with the breath by inhaling on your forward motion and exhaling on your backward motion. Smooth and steady. Take a few more rounds. And when you feel complete, we'll come into a tabletop position. So for tabletop, you'll want to place your wrists directly beneath your shoulders so that fingertips are facing forward, palms are pressing down into the ground. So there's some action here in the hands. Palms, knuckles, fingertips, all pressing down. Then the knees are right below the hips. And you can activate a little pressing here too in the shins and upper feet to really, really ground down. And so while we're still, there's some activation happening for sure in the arms and the legs and the core to keep the spine elongated. Gaze can be between the hands. Keep the breath moving. We'll gently start to sway our hips from side to side. So hips moving from the right to the left. And if you'd like to continue to coordinate the breath with the movement, you can breathe in when your hips are centered and breathe out as they move from one side to the next. Gaze might stay between the hands, or you might choose to look in the opposite direction that your hip is moving, or the same direction that your hip is moving. The invitation here is to welcome in any other movements that might happen in your body. You could start hip circles in either direction, traditional cat-cow undulations in the spine. Anything that is basically coming to and from this tabletop position is more than welcome. So any creative or simple, repetitive, or spontaneous movements that you have, they are welcome here for the next few cycles of breath. Where might you get into your shoulders or hips in a different way? Bending or straightening the arms. There's really no movement that's off limits. And as you start to feel complete in the next breath cycle or so, we'll come back into a tabletop position. Take your time to get there. Again, reground, make sure the wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, and you're pressing down through all points that are connecting to the neck. Take a deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. From here, you can come up onto fingertips. Start walking the hands in towards your knees. Gently raise the upper body. Hands can come to hips or simply down by the side in a tall kneeling position. We'll just notice this placement of the body upright for the first time in this session. Take a deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. I'm going to take my left foot and step it out in front of me so that the sole of my left foot is on the ground, heel beneath the knee. From here, hands can stand on hips, or you might want to take the hands and rest them down on the left thigh. As you press into the left foot, start to straighten the left leg, draw the right in, and we'll come to standing. I'm going to face the long edge of my mat. You're invited to do the same thing if that works for your visual. Step the feet out. Toes point out a little bit, 45 to 90 degrees, depending on what feels good in your hips. Take a hand to the heart, hand to the belly. Gaze can be straight down or eyes closed. Notice what you feel in this new orientation. Excuse me. Let the breaths move gently. Release the hands down to the side. We'll take a few breaths, reach the arms out to the side and up overhead. Inhale. Exhale. Arms and hands draw down the center line of the body. Inhale, reach up overhead. And exhale, arms come down the center line. Reach up. Exhale. Reach up. This time on your exhale, you bend the knees, bend the elbows, and descend. Inhale to reach and lift. Press through the feet, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach. Press through the feet. Elongate the spine. Gaze can go up. And exhale to lower. Move at your own speed, your own rhythm. Breath and movement coordinated. And then the next time that you descend, see if you can pause there. So keep the breath moving, but our body will stay in this position, this lowered position. So pressing through the feet, you might think of extending and widening the knees out to the side, the shoulder blades come together, the hands are energized, tailbone drops, navel lifts. Keep the breath moving, plenty of space between the shoulders and ears so that the neck is elongated. Few cycles of breath here. And if you start to notice that there is a fiery discomfort in your legs or a lot of work, you can trust that doing this is drawing the energy downward and creating a grounding sense. We'll stay here if we can for a couple cycles of breath. Breathe into the full body. On your next inhale, reach the arms up and exhale them down. One hand to heart, one hand to belly. Eyes may close or gaze down. You'll notice the effect. How does the lower body feel? What is your heart rate like? And release the arms down to the side. Gently and mindfully bring the feet closer together. You might stand with your feet slightly apart or the insides of the feet touching. And we'll move towards the front of the mat. So from here, take an inhale, reach the arms out in front of you, palms face each other. On your exhale, you'll bend your knees, ankles move, and hips get sent back. Inhale to reach upwards with the hands and straighten the legs. Exhale to lower. So moving in and out of extended mountain as we reach up through the fingertips and down through the feet. And chair, Utkatasana, as we bend the knees and the hips back. So move at your own speed. Breath and body coordinated. If you'd like to keep going with the pulsing movements, feel free. If you would like to spend some time in a static chair position, the next time you exhale, you'll pause the movement and keep the breath moving. If you're staying still, see if you can continue to ground into the feet. Really feel like the legs are the trunk of a tree, spine is long. Might tuck the chin a little bit. Bring the shoulders down away from the ears and the shoulder blades towards one another. Keep the breath moving steady. Check on the jaw, notice if there's space between your upper and lower teeth, and if there's not, if there's any sense of clenching, see if you can insert a little bit of space there. Breath moves steady. On your next inhale, you reach all the way up, and arms down to the side. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Pause and notice. Release the hands down to the sides. Gently start to tilt the spine and upper body forward. Bend the knees as much as you need to. So knees bend, upper body comes forward. Eventually fingertips come to the ground, and you can step one foot and then the other back. Come down so that you're sitting on your buttocks and the legs are in front of you. And ever so gently, you'll inch your way back down to the ground. You might hug the knees in. Take a deep breath into the nose. Sigh out through the mouth. Deep breath into the nose. Sigh out through the mouth. Bring the feet down to the ground. So you can have the legs extended or the soles of the feet on the ground with the knees pointed up. Hands can be palms face down on belly, ribs, or chest. We'll take a few cycles of that complete 3-part breath prior to moving into some relaxation. So inhale through the nostrils, the belly fills with air. Once the belly is at capacity, the ribs flare open, and then the air spills into a lifting chest. Then you exhale, exhale, exhale. Deep and slow.
And after your next exhale, release this intentional control of the breath. And your body will begin to return to its own natural rhythm of breathing. And to prepare for our yoga rest, you may decide to stay on your back in a classical Shavasana, which is the arms and legs out to the side. Limbs are straight. You might feel that it's comfortable to roll onto your belly, roll into a ball, lay on the side. What's important about rest at the end of a yoga practice is that it gives you a space to be still in whatever way is the most comfortable for you. Sitting upright is also an option. So find the position that feels the most supportive to you. It does not need to look a certain way. The priority is that you feel safe, comfortable, and at ease to the extent possible for just a few minutes of time to integrate. We'll be here for a few moments and then I'll bring us out of practice. In a Shavasana, if this yoga rest is an area of comfort, please enjoy and soak it in. And if the stillness or quietness or anything going on in your mind or body feel like they're distracting you in any way, you can turn your attention to follow the breath. You could point your attention towards reflecting on one or two positive or affirming moments from your week. You could just send little bits of good wishes to friends or family members or people in your life or even strangers, just as a way of giving the mind some anchoring if that's useful to you. If you're feeling comfortable in the position that you're in, please stay as long as your circumstances allow. If you would like to conclude class as a group together, you might start deepening your breath. You might invite movement, the fingers, toes, any part of your body. And in your own time, perhaps 3 breaths worth of time, gently find your way to a seated and upright position. Somewhere where you can sustain comfort for less than a minute. Eyes can be open or closed. Notice how you feel in the seated position. What parts of you are connected with the earth? What parts of you are connected with the air? Hands can rest anywhere they're comfortable. If it's appealing to you to take one hand placed over the heart, another hand placed on top of that. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Release it through the mouth. Release any hand position you've chosen. The eyes are closed. You may begin to open them. Thank you so much for practicing together. This concludes our yoga for today. I'm grateful to you for taking the time, whether it's on the live stream or some other point in your week, to care for yourself through yoga. My name is Jessi, and I'm volunteering with Hands to Heart Center, and I wish you well.